signify who you think Christ is, you have to know who you are first, right? So I want you to believe her. I want you to come look at this sign right here. On your right is what the world calls the same people that's on your left. So today, this is what the world would call you, and this is what God would call you. Where do you see yourself on the sign? Well, what is your father? Yeah. What's your nationality?
Puerto Rican.
Puerto Rican. All right. So your father, because the seed comes from your father. Your father, when you said Puerto Rican, he'll be from the tribe of Ephraim, making you from the tribe of Ephraim. Now, knowing that there's something that you've been told, because what does Puerto Rican mean?
Basically American.
Nah, it means rich port. It's a place where you dock your boats, and what they're doing, they're gathering the riches from Puerto Rico. So like, oh, let's go here. This is a rich port. This is a rich place to grab jewels, diamonds, gold, trees, things of the sort. Because you've been to Puerto Rico?
Yeah.
You see how rich the land is? Fruit grow everywhere. Got coconuts, bananas, mangoes. You got some of the best soil. You can grow anything. Beautiful flowers, beautiful trees. You got the trees there. They take the trees from that land and sell it back to the land. Why? Because the trees are magnificent. You got beautiful trees. You can build almost anything with that, right? But they call you guys a rich port because they were able to take it from you. You got Bacardi, you got Goya. Both things are in Puerto Rico, but not owned by Puerto Rico, right? So now the problem comes to when you lost your identity because now you're called after a term. You call yourself Puerto Rican. That's a term. It's not a people, right? So you get to Christ. Which one have you been taught is Christ? Because I understand you said nobody knows what he looked like. So we're gonna get to we're gonna prove two things at the same time.
The only ones that I ever seen is
right, and I know you've seen them on those little jars. They sell the candles. I know that because they do it. If you go in Tops, it's there, right?
So for me, it's like there's different varieties, but everybody look at it different.
But if everybody look at it different, that's a problem because the Bible has one description, and we're going to show you that in the Bible what Christ would have looked like today if you would see him. If you was walking, and what's your name by the way?
Johnny.
What's it?
Johnny.
Johnny. All right, I'm Solomon. If I had to say, hey, where's Johnny? And they're like, well, nobody has ever seen him before. How will I describe you? So Christ's description is in the Bible, right? Let's read that.
Revelations chapter 1 and verse 1. The revelation of Jesus Christ which God gave unto him. Verse 14. His head and his hairs were white like wool.
So it said that he had white and woolly hair. What people today has woolly hair? African Americans, right? Similar to my hair, similar to my brother here, right? Read on.
As white as snow, and his eyes were as a flame of fire.
So it say he had white woolly hair, like how when people get old, his hair was woolly, his eyes were as a flame of fire, meaning the whites around his eyes were reddish. Why? Because when you drink moderately, what happens to the white? It turns red, correct? Christ was known as a man who drunk, but he drunk moderately. They call him a wine bibber. They try to disrespect him because he had a drink every once in a while, right? But it says his hair was white and woolly, his eyes was red, and it continues.
And his feet like unto fine brass.
What color is brass?
Like a brownish.
It's a brownish color, right? It said like unto fine brass. Read on.
As if they burned in a furnace.
So if you burn anything in a furnace or an oven, you burn anything at all, what color does it turn?
Charcoal.
Turn charcoal, black. Yep. So it said that his feet was the color of brass as if you burned it in a furnace, making him what skin color? Black. So the Bible shows Christ had a skin color. Somebody's seen him. Go up to verse 13.
Verse 13. And in the midst of the seven candlesticks.
Verse 12.
Verse 12. And I turned to see the voice that spake with me. And being turned, I saw 7 golden candlesticks.
So this is John. He was on the island of Patmos. Somebody's talking behind him. He said, I turned to see the person who was talking to me, right? Read.
Verse 13. And in the midst of the 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man.
So he said, I see somebody that looked like the Son of Man, meaning Christ was called the Son of Man. He said, I turned and this dude looked like him, right? Read.
Clothed with the garment down to the foot, and girt about the paps with a golden girdle.
So Christ had a garment on, and he was like, yo, you look like Christ. You look like the guy I walked with for 3 years. You look like him. Then it explains what we saw here. What you see here, it explains the white woolly hair, the skin looking like burnt brass. So John the Revelator saw Christ, somebody he used to walk with, right? But you said nobody seen him, right? But let's show you. Somebody saw Christ after he died. When he resurrected, they seen him again, right?
John chapter 21 and verse 1. After these things, Jesus showed himself again to the disciples at the Sea of Tiberias, and on this wise showed he himself.
So Christ, after he was crucified, came back and showed himself again. He showed him to his disciples, meaning, remember, they were already walking with him. Why would he have to show himself if they're already with him? That means after he was crucified, he showed himself again, meaning he was a person. They knew who he was, right? Jump over to 20.
At John chapter 20, verse 20. 21 verse 20. Then Peter, turning about, seeth the disciple whom Jesus loved, following, which also leaned on his breast at supper, and said, Lord, which is he that betrayeth thee?
Right.
Peter, seeing him, saith to Jesus, Lord, and what shall this man do?
So they talking to Christ after he was crucified, when he resurrected. It's showing you that Peter saw him, John saw him. The two top disciples seen Christ. So somebody seen Christ. So when you say nobody seen him, that's not true. The Bible doesn't tell you that. The Bible tells you Christ was seen. But the problem is we have been beaten in our head that Christ was some magnificent one that walked holy with angels around him all day with an aura over his head, talk like this, like, hello my brothers, we love you. No, that's not how Christ was. Go back to Revelation 1 and verse 15. Show you Christ didn't speak like that. Christ was a man that was seen amongst his brothers. Christ was a man who did what? He healed the sick. He talked to those who were destroyed. Christ kept the laws of God. And that's what we out here to teach. Our people don't keep the laws of God. That's why we don't understand who Christ is, who we are. We think we're Puerto Rican, American black, Jamaicans. That's what we think we are. But the Bible shows we're something different. This is what happened to our people. We are destroyed because we were in sin and God put us in captivity. This happened to the Taino Indians. This happened to the Native Americans. This happened to the blacks, as you can see.
We got them in Puerto Rico too.
Yeah, you got it in Puerto Rico. Why? Because it happened. The mortal, that happened. It happened to us for one reason, not keeping the laws of God.
Shalom, Israel. This is Bishop Nathaniel. I want you to know that you can view all our Sabbath classes live on IUIC TV. That's right, I said on IUIC TV. Download the app today. Shalom.
What is a nation? Nation is family. Nation is community. Nation is men leading by example. Nation is women's support. Nation is children